who always needs vanilla ice cream with like any dessert? Right. The dessert needs to be warm and there needs to be vanilla ice cream. It never fails. They'll probably come home and see this today and say, where's the vanilla ice cream? All right, welcome back to another edition of, do you remember what's called?
Generations of Goodness.
Generations of Goodness. This week, we are going to be making
Apple dumplings.
Apple dumplings, yes. Can you put that down? Thank you.
I had it for my microphone, guys. I'm going to charge it with you. Oh.
Apple dumplings was a dessert that my grandma,
I said that
on my mom's side, who I called Mom, she always had apple dumplings for
I said Granny.
dessert.
I call both of them Granny.
Okay. I always was excited whenever I knew that's what was for dessert. She didn't make them from scratch, but they were still really good. So we are going to attempt to make them from scratch.
Hard.
If you know me, if you have been around me long enough, you know my favorite desserts always include what? What? Okay, so you know my favorite desserts include apples. I love apple pies, apple dumplings, apple filling.
I like pecan stuff.
Specifically, it has to be made from fresh apples.
Wow.
We are going to go through the process of making the dough from scratch. What type of apples do we use for apple desserts? What's the best type of apple to use for an apple dessert?
Granny Smith.
Yes, Granny Smith apples. Do you know why?
Because the slippers are not too sweet and they're not too tart.
Right. Well, actually, they're more tart, which makes them better because when you add sugar to them, it gives a perfect balance of tartness and sweetness. And they're a little bit firmer of an apple, so they're harder.
And we can mash up the little babies can eat them.
I don't know what you just said.
But we mash them up so the babies can eat them.
Oh. So when you cook them, they don't just like completely fall apart on you because they are a firmer apple in comparison to like a red delicious apple. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to see us make the pie dough first, and then we'll go from there. So the first thing Jazlynn is doing is cutting up the butter into small cubes, and then she's putting it into a bowl that we'll later put into the refrigerator to make sure that the butter stays nice and cold. That is important for all of the ingredients to be super cold while making pie dough so that nothing melts and that it keeps its flakiness and the little pockets of butter stay in the pie dough. So after the butter chilled a little bit, Jazlynn is putting it with the flour and sugar and dry ingredients, and she's making the butter pieces even smaller and almost like pea size. That's the goal with the butter in the pie dough, is to make it pea size butter and her hands stay cold and don't melt the butter. Here's the pie dough after the water has been added just to make it moist enough. And I'm pushing the pie dough together, and I'll wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator to chill, at least for a few hours, if not overnight. Oh, look at baby Jazz. Let's see you roll it. Look at those muscles.
I do all like my mommy.
What?
I do all like my mommy because I look big.
So we made the pie dough that you just saw. We let it sit overnight. Actually, it sit for a couple nights in the fridge because
We had a couple plans.
we had some things. It's summer, so we've been busy. And she woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. So
on 4th of July.
So this is our pie dough. You can see the chunks of butter in it. That's always good for flaking. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. This is the pie dough I use when I make pies from scratch. And it always tastes pretty good. So we'll see how this goes. The next thing we're going to do is
Roll
out the dough. We've already cored the apples and peeled them. I highly suggest getting a corer. I do not have a corer, so I used a knife to core the apple. It worked, but
hard.
It's a little bit hard, and you can potentially cut yourself through it pretty easily. I did not, but
and you have to peel it, and the peeler could get right in your skin. I peeled some, didn't have any.
She did peel one apple, and then she quit. It helps to have moms or dads help you with that part, because that can actually be pretty dangerous, right?
And cheese cutters.
So this should be a pretty simple process. We'll see how it turns out. I'm just excited to eat them. I think either way it'll taste good, because it's apples and pie dough and butter and sugar and cinnamon and nutmeg. Why are you being so tired? You woke up too early. Alright, let's get going.
The mics are good. The mics are good. Okay, dinner to your last video. We went to Newport Aquarium, and it was super fun. And in the VR, like time it like looked so fun. It was like.
What were you looking at in that?
Oh, whales.
What were the whales doing?
I don't know. They were just talking about whales. Yes, swimming.
They were talking about whales?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. So, Jazlynn's attempting to roll this out. It's pretty firm because it has been refrigerated, and I didn't take it out too long ago. The reason we want it refrigerated is so that the butter doesn't melt. Because when the butter melts in the process, the pie crust isn't as flaky. Yeah, let me see if I can help.
She's checking the table. Guys, just see your roller coaster ride at Disneyland if you can't go. And if you're not going.
This is their roller coaster ride?
Yeah, this is your vacation on the Thunder Run at Kentucky Kingdom for your vacation.
So after some muscle, we got our pie dough rolled out. You see our cored apples on the pie dough, and here I'm cutting about 8 by 8 inch squares around the apples. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you'll see here in a little bit what I end up doing. So I took that square and I rolled it out a little bit thinner, and we are taking the butter and we're going to cut it into pieces, and Jazlynn is going to put the butter on the inside of the apple. She's going to top the apple with a little bit of brown sugar, and if there is room in that hole in the middle of the apple, she'll push down some of the sugar into the apple. She's spreading the extra sugar around the bottom. Next, we're going to sprinkle it with some cinnamon and nutmeg. We are going to use more cinnamon than nutmeg because nutmeg is a little bit stronger in flavor, and you want the cinnamon to have the strongest flavor. Now, if you love nutmeg, feel free to add however much you want. So here I told Jazlynn that we will be wrapping the apple like it's a present. So we're going to take the two opposite corners and attach them with some water. to each other. She's going to repeat the process with the opposite corners and continue using water. You don't want to make it super soggy, but you definitely want enough water so that they adhere to each other, that the dough adheres to each other. And don't be afraid to use some pressure. These don't have to look beautiful on top or anything. The goal is just to get all of the holes sealed. So right here, she's adding some water. She's pushing the two edges together, and then she's folding the dough over. And you can stretch the dough a little bit if it's not super thin. And if it does get a hole in it, you just kind of smush the hole back together. That's why this project is so great for kids to be involved, because it doesn't have to be perfect and there's ways to fix things. So she's going to continue on with the process and do all 6 apple dumplings. So now comes time to make the sauce, and it's just a water, butter, sugar mixture, and I'm just mixing it up. This is something that an adult definitely needs to be a part of. And I will cook the mixture until the water dissolves. I mean, the sugar dissolves, not the water. And I poured it over the dumplings. There's no right or wrong way. Just don't let it splash on you because it is really hot and will burn you. And then popped them in the oven. Here they are bubbling in the oven. And here's the finished dumplings. We made our pie dough. You saw us roll it out. Roll. With the 2 L's. Roll it out. You didn't see us core or peel the apples because that was not easy, but we did it.
And I almost got myself
and
like 8
this
times.
is a great dessert once you get through that. To let your kids put the apple dumplings together. So even if you wanted to use a store-bought crust, you could do that too to make it easier. But the only thing she didn't do was core the apple.
I suppose. It's fine. Now
It's fine. And then the hot sugar part. the part where the sugar and the water and the butter is boiling and you pour it over. You won't want to do that. But the whole assembly thing is perfect because they don't have to be perfect. So we have, you saw them cooking in the oven. We have them here. They're still a little warm. They'd be great with vanilla ice cream if you like vanilla ice cream with apple desserts. I'm not a big mixed ice cream with dessert type of person.
I am.
I like to keep the crust like crusty. Who else is? Who always needs vanilla ice cream with like any dessert? Right. The dessert needs to be warm and there needs to be vanilla ice cream. It never fails. He'll probably come home and see this today and say, "Where's the vanilla ice cream?" And I'll say, "You know what?" Anyhow,
Just because I touched
so we're going to share one. Oh, that makes sense. We're going to share one. It's really juicy. Ugh, like dumplings. Look at it. I'm losing part of it. There it is.
Get that back. Get that back.
There it is.
Ooh, I did a good job of folding
Ooh,
them.
this crust looks delicious.
I love the crust of pie.
I wouldn't say this is the healthiest apple dessert, but you know what I do that's actually healthy? Do you know what I do? You remember what I do with like old apples that are going bad? What do I do with them?
You like cook them to like be like a cooked like apple, and then you can eat it without getting sick.
Well, I put the apples in a skillet with some cinnamon, nutmeg, and butter, and that's really all because you don't really need added sugar. I cook them down, and then we always have little desserts, and the apples don't go to waste. All right, hold on. Let me wait on me. Make sure you have apple in it. Oh, this is amazing. I can't wait. It's hot. Let's see.
Guys, we play that on 0.25 speed. Did I blow off my apple dumpling or not?
This is really good. Do you like, okay, so let me ask you this. Do you like this better or an apple pie better? Which one? You like this better? Why?
Because it's like, it has like crust around it.
I like the crust. I was going to say the same thing. What else? It's really buttery. Probably because it's the sauce. I cooked it in. It has butter, sugar, and water.
Like, because it like sits in the oven longer.
About the same time.
A little bit longer.
And you can make them, right?
Uh-huh.
I can leave you to assemble them after we take care of the other stuff. This is going to be cooked more often in this house. Baked more often. You think Daddy's going to love this? We should make him record himself.
Yeah.
Probably smacking like you right now.
I did that on purpose.
Daddy has it tough living with two females in here.
Yum.
Stop. Anyhow, so this is great. Apple dumplings. I'm glad she doesn't have her microphone on.
No.
You saw us make some apple dumplings. They're delicious. Keep watching. Hit the what?
Subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can see, so you will be warned when the next video is coming out.
That's right.
Oh yeah. And
We don't know what's happening next week, so we'll find out at the same time you do. So have a good weekend. We hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. Try something new in the kitchen.
On the 6th of July.
Yes.
Happy 4th of July. Oh, wait. Oh, today's the 4th of July.
All right, you good? Don't eat it all. I want some.
No.
Yes.
Very good.
Bye.